Whoa.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno. And good Monday evening, everybody. It is the Kings. It is the Trailblazers from the Golden One Center. Blazers on the second night of a back-to-back tonight. We've got full coverage all evening for you, beginning right now with the pregame show, then followed by halftime with Jerry Reynolds. After that, Grant and I wrap it up. Open phones. Trailblazers. Yes, Trailblazers. For whatever reason, I have been saying Timberwolves all day. I don't know why, but I've been doing it. So anyways, the Trailblazers winners last night against the New Orleans Pelicans. And we got breaking news right off the bat. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. I want to get your comments, want to get your calls. Thank you so much for tuning in to the pregame show right here on If You Don't Like That.
Break it down, it's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams to Demon.
Bucks. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
And welcome back in, Ryan in Sacktown with you. I get it. There's a ton of things to watch right now. You got the World Series going on. The Dodgers, they're up in New York. Yeah, I saw Fat Joe singing in the dugout. Also, you've got Monday Night Football. Who you got in that one? I didn't check the score. I'm relying on my partner for that one. I think he's into the Giants, right? I'm not so sure about that. Help me out in the chat. But hey, welcome in. Sacramento looking for its first win tonight. They match up with the Trailblazers. The Kings beat the Blazers 2 times in 3 meetings last year, but if you remember, one of them was pretty damn ugly. It's when the Kings showed their worst trait of all over the last 82, which was inconsistency. One of the only consistent things they did consistently was be inconsistent. Say that 5 times fast. But we do have breaking news right off the bat. And yeah, if you are just getting acquainted with our channel, what's up, Bane? Tons of content. You had the Kings Court earlier today, 2 o'clock. Grant was here at 4. Now you got 3 more shows, this one and the halftime with Jerry Reynolds and postgame right here with Grant and myself, where we open it up to all you. Open phones. We like hearing from you. Same thing goes on this show. If you would like to call the show, talk about whatever you want to hit on, concerns, predictions for tonight's game, would love to hear from you. Dwayne, what's up? Watching Magic Pacers makes me feel even more that we won the trade. There you go. Watching some Hallie. All right. Fair enough. Appreciate the comment, Dwayne. Okay, so I said we've got some breaking news right off the bat. And it is there a game tonight? Of course. There's a Portland fan in here, y'all. Treat him nice. Give him the Sacramento polite treatment. We don't shame other fans despite their bad choices. Anyways, breaking news right off the bat. And I think it's significant, and it's mattered to a large number of this fan base, to be quite honest with you. And it has to deal with this guy, Keon Ellis. A lot of people wondered where Keon was in Los Angeles against the Lakers. I was one of them. I was a little surprised that Mike Brown did not play Keon, seeing as Keon's been in the starting lineup. He started pretty much all of the second half of last season. Now, that was due to injuries, remind you, but think about what it did for the Kings defensively. It opened up new doors for him. The Kings net rating up until the All-Star break fluctuated between 0.3 and 0.6. By the end of the regular season, the Kings were right around a 3.6, 3.7 in the positive. So, or excuse me, 1.7, 1.6. So it nearly tripled. Now, we didn't get the answers from Coach Brown in the post-game press conference on Saturday after the Kings lost to the Lakers. But although Coach Brown heavily criticized, definitely was on the post-game show, a lot of criticism from the fans as well. This is what Coach Brown said after the Lakers game.
Man, that first half especially, I thought we came out and really got some great looks. The guys moved the ball. The spacing was beautiful. The ball just didn't go in. But if we keep playing like that offensively, good things will happen. The one thing I'd like to say is, I don't know, 25 seconds left, 24 seconds left. It's a one-possession game. We hit, and I shouldn't have called the hit, and they got a bucket to go up 2 possessions. So I told the guys, that's on me. I'll take that. Which is unfortunate because there's still enough time to, with us having 2 timeouts going down the stretch, still enough time to get a stop hypothetically or go steal foul if we need to. But that was a tough offensive play that we gave up, and I'm going to take the blame for that one.
That was about the only blame, only discussion in the post game that had to do with Coach Brown and his coaching. We're not going to cover it too much here tonight because we've had a couple days to really mull that over. I think we've kicked it around enough. If that's the discussion you want, you can go check out the post-game show from after the Lakers game. But I bring that up because tonight in Coach Brown's pregame press conference, he talked a little bit more about the situation surrounding Keon Ellis. And I'm paraphrasing here and relying on the reporting by those that were in the room. Obviously, I was not. Basically, he reminded Coach Brown, everybody, that Keon moved into the starting lineup because of an injury. He also talked about trying to get a feel for his rotation now, however you want to put it. It's a little surprising to me, quite frankly, because it's the same rotation that he had last year for the most part, except this year you have Doug McDermott in it, and you got DeMar in the starting lineup. And he also pointed to the fact that he wanted to get Jordan McLaughlin into the game, which Jordan did get in the game briefly against the Lakers. But the takeaway from most of those that were in the room was Keon Ellis may not be in Coach Brown's rotation right now and could probably be used situationally. But more than that, it doesn't seem like Keon is really looking to get major minutes, which is a surprise. And we can have that discussion here if you would like, but take it for what you will. We will see. Obviously, he is a great defender. It depends on what the Kings are doing that night, but it is a little bit odd to me that Keon Ellis would be the odd man out of this rotation. Again, just breaking, just kind of hitting the internet right now. So we can talk about that some more as the show goes along. Like I said, want to hear from all of you. We get you ready tonight for the Kings and the Trailblazers. Trailblazers on the second night of a back-to-back. So they won last night against a good Pelicans team. In fact, they almost beat the Pelicans the game before as well. Let's go to the NBA guru, Zach. Hopefully he's not underwater tonight. What's up, Zach?
How you doing, Ryno?
Way better.
I'm excited for this game. The Kings, funny enough, I'm not a big gambler either, but I know they're favored by 12.5 points. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. I don't know if I'll be too comfortable with giving that many points to the Blazers. I'm kind of shocked on that. I guess the Vegas thinks we're going to win big tonight.
Well, they're probably betting on the fact that the Kings are scoring the ball pretty well. Their offensive rating right now is 6th in the NBA. Pace is also 6th in the NBA. And the Blazers are on the second night of a back-to-back playing on the road. But Vegas as well as they know things, I don't know if they're keeping up with what happened last year in Sacramento with games like this.
Oh yeah, that's true. When the Kings are favored by a lot, or they should be winning the games that they should, they never did it. Or I mean, they did do it sometimes, obviously, but it wasn't a given. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to see what if Keon's going to be playing. I feel like a lot of people told Mike Brown what the heck, so I feel like we'll see him tonight. I might be wrong, but I think he should be playing. I think Keegan should be guarding Jeremy Grant, and Ellis should be. I mean, for me, I think he should be starting and guarding Simons, Anthony. And I think if we can take care of those two guys, just limit those guys, our offense should be doing good enough to win the game pretty smoothly, as long as we're rebounding the ball decently. I know Portland's a decently rebounding team this year. I think I'm seeing they're 8th this year in the league. So I know we had trouble against the Lakers against that, but I think those are some keys that should give us a first win for the season nicely.
Yeah, I think rebounds are going to be huge. The Kings right now, one of their points of emphasis, Zach, was offensive rebounding. They are dead last in the NBA right now at offensive rebounding, which is a big difference from last year. They were 12th in the NBA. So very interesting.
It's only 2 games, so it's gonna be skewed a little bit. But yeah, it's not a great start for offensive rebound. I think that should improve a little bit for sure.
Definitely. What's your final score prediction?
I got 121-107 Kings.
121-107. All right. I like it, brother. Thanks for kicking us off. All right.
Take care.
That is Zach, the NBA guru. Okay, we do have some breaking audio in. I have not listened to it, so we're going to listen to it together for the first time. This is Coach Brown on Keon.
If you guys remember, he starting because Kevin got hurt. So he was not technically a starter last year. And Kevin, with him being healthy, he got the spot back, and he's got to fight to hold on to it. But I have a pretty good feel now of what I have against the Lakers. One of the things we wanted to try to do, and we try to do it all the time, is to play extremely fast. And Jordan is really good with the basketball, especially in the speed game. And so giving Jordan a crack at it before Keon was the thought process, just because we want to play fast. And if you think about, the rotation, there's only so many minutes. If I don't play Alex, we're going to be really, really small, which isn't the end of the world. If I don't play Trey, we're going to be really, really small. I'm going to play Malik off the bench right there. That's 8. And then I probably can play one more guy. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to play another one. And especially that's the case until I get the minutes figured out. As you saw in game 1, I think DeMar had 43 and Keegan had 41. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's not what they need to average this year. They were better in the Laker game, the minutes, but it's still a little too high. If I can keep Domas, Fox, Keegan at around 35 to 36, and then it'd be great to keep DeMar at around 34 to 35. That's ideal. Can I get there? I hope I can get there sooner than later.
What's the timeline on getting there with your rotation? I guess I'm a little confused. You would assume the training staff and the coaching staff were meeting regularly to discuss progress for Kevin Huerter, to discuss progress for Trey Lyles. Doug McDermott, okay, fair. But you knew that somebody was going to have to step into that role and either play a little bit big or play small. Like Alex Len playing a smaller person or a smaller player on the court. This is the 4th time that I can remember hearing from Coach Brown that I'm still trying to get the rotation figured out. And the only variable is DeMar DeRozan. So tonight, that's something to watch for. Let's see what it does how Coach Brown uses it, but I'd be lying to you if I said I am not concerned, I'm not concerned if Keon Ellis isn't going to be part of his rotation. To me, again, it opened up new things for the Kings defensively. And Jordan McLaughlin, you got to give him some minutes. You got to see what he can do. I thought Jordan did some good stuff in the preseason with a limited look because of his ankle injury. But man, I'm a little bit surprised. What about all you? So you can react to that, because I felt like Keon was going to be a fabric of what this team did. You know, Coach Brown has preached so much about taking the small things off of Fox and Domas's plates, doing the little things that don't show up on the stat sheets. And if you look down this roster and you look down this bench, that's Keon Ellis to a T. Really interesting. Really interesting that, like I said, just broke. So we're just hearing this now for the first time, but it is the Kings and the Blazers tonight. Let's talk about this Blazers team for a few minutes. Last night, they played the New Orleans Pelicans and they blew them out at home. How about that? Here's your box for the Blazers last night. The Blazers run a ton of pick and roll. There's going to be a lot of pick and roll action. The name that everybody knows is Jeremy Grant, getting paid big money by the Blazers. The Blazers in the midst of a rebuild. You do have DeAndre Ayton down low. You now have Donovan Clingan coming off the bench. So the Blazers are the biggest team in the NBA. The size does not concern me for the Kings tonight. The Kings have showed that they can play against size, or at least against the Timberwolves. That's what they showed. But what concerns me is the physicality. Now, Aiden, you never know what you're going to get with him on any given night. But with Grant, he plays quick. He plays physical. The name that not a lot of people are talking about that I'm going to point you to is Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is the one that makes this Blazers team go in terms of pace. And seeing as this is the second night of a back-to-back for the Blazers, it is going to be up to him to get that ball up the court, get the ball moving, and get the team moving. And again, I go back to the pick and rolls, the screen game. The Blazers run a ton of it. So much like you saw LA, now certainly the Blazers do not have the same talent as the Los Angeles Lakers, but they run a very similar style at times with their big man. So the question is, can Domas Sabonis stay out of foul trouble? He got into foul trouble early against the Lakers last game. Alex Len, same thing. Can he stay out of some foul trouble tonight? But Anthony Simons, I'm telling you, this kid can shoot the ball, especially from beyond the arc. He is not Dame Lillard, but if you looked away and kind of covered your eyes, you'd be a little bit reminded of the way that Dame used to run the team in Portland in Simons. So that is the guy that I am paying a ton of attention to. Obviously, Jeremy Grant, you have to worry about as well. Scoot Henderson, he gets the ball up and down the court. So the Blazers have talent. Don't let their record fool you. In the spread, again, a little bit concerning because I don't think it's that big of a spread, but you do have the Kings that have their backs against the wall. This is what they did last night as a team against the Pelicans. As for the Kings, it's pretty simple. They have got to keep the ball moving. The Blazers are going to run a decent amount of zone defense tonight. I keep saying zone. I've said it the past couple pregame shows, but watching them against the Pelicans, they zoned them a decent amount of the game. So the Kings need to be prepared for that. It's all going to come down to second opportunities and movement. The Kings looked like they were the team on the second night of a back-to-back in LA, because remember, the Lakers had played the night before against Phoenix. So the energy tonight, what can the Kings do? Can they get it high? Can they maintain? And if you look at the sample size of this season, the past two games for your Kings, they have not played bad basketball. Don't let the record fool you. Now, what they have done badly is had horrid stretches that remind you of stretches of basketball that they had last year, where basketball IQ, your shot, your decision making, all of that goes out the window. And before you know it, the Kings are down 9 points, or they let a team back in. Perfect example of this is the Timberwolves game. You get 3 quick threes towards the end of the third period, and all of a sudden, Minnesota, who the Kings had outplayed through 3 quarters, was right there back in the game with a 1-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Now, in Los Angeles, Coach Brown pulled De'Aaron Fox out of the game at the end of the third quarter when the Kings did pretty much the same thing the Timberwolves did to them against the Lakers. They went up 7 at the end. They got a 2-for-1, which was great, smart basketball IQ by them. And also Domas playing physical without fouling. All things were rolling. Then coach put De'Aaron Fox on the bench. And what do you know? The Lakers go on the 21-0 run, 16-0 with LeBron by himself. Now, again, we can talk about Coach Brown's decision-making during that run and throughout the fourth quarter, but here's what I want to focus on, and here's the point that I'm trying to get at. The Kings are not good enough to sustain runs like this. While the Lakers went on a 21-0 run, the Kings did this. Missed 3, missed 2, missed 2, missed 2, turnover. Missed 2, missed 3, missed 3, turnover. The Kings had a similar stretch to that in the Minnesota game. This team, as they continue to get together, as Mike Brown continues to figure out the rotation, as he said, they've got to find a way to put a stopgap into those moments. And in those moments, there's bad shots. Malik Monk had a couple of them against the Lakers in that stretch. You also had a rush 3 in that stretch. You had turnovers in that stretch. So whether it's broken up by timeout, by substitution, by calling a set, whatever it may be, DeMar DeRozan, most thought that DeMar DeRozan would be the guy breaking those runs up this year. It's got to get done, because until further notice, the Kings are not good enough to recover from runs like that. Because you look at the rest of the fourth quarter against the Lakers, the Kings had a great offensive stretch. In fact, towards the end of the game, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, offensive rebound, 2, 3. Those are all in a row. But the problem is you're already behind the 8 ball. You're trading buckets with the other team, which doesn't work out. In fact, this morning at shoot around, DeMar DeRozan said as much. Here's DeMar.
Kind of the one lapse we had within both games that kind of cost us, that put us in a position, to fight uphill. For the most part, the effort's been there, on both ends. I think just those 2 lapses we had in game 1 and game 2, which put us in a, tough predicament to, fight back. Other than that, we've been doing a lot of great things. It's coming together. It sucks to lose, but we know both of those games should have been ours if it wasn't for our mistakes.
Keegan was also asked this morning about the Trailblazers. Obviously, his brother plays for them, and along the same lines, what the Kings need to do differently in those stretches of basketball. Here's what Keegan had to say to both.
Yeah, they're young. They're like one of those teams that are really scrappy, a lot of energy. So this should be big for us to get off to a hot start, especially on our first, game of a back-to-back.
A lot of length as well. Is that something that you guys are focusing on? Length was an issue the first 2 games.
Yeah, they're one of the taller teams. I think they're the tallest team in the NBA. But a lot of shot blockers, a lot of length, 2 through 5. So obviously they have a lot of effect at the rim, and we just got to rebound better.
What's kind of just the headspace for you guys right now after this start?
Obviously it's not been great, through the preseason and then the first 2 games. So we have a lot of games left, so we have time to figure it out, and got to figure it out fast.
Do you see anything common in the 2?
We both had leads in the second half in both games. I think the Lakers went on a run in the start of the fourth. The Timberwolves went on a run and late in the third. So those kind of things can't happen especially in the second half.
Is it hard?
So there you go. Keegan said it. DeMar said it. They can't have those runs. These runs continue to happen for this team. So can they clean that up tonight? And I don't care if the Kings are up 20. They need to still curb those runs. It's not one of those things where you let the other team cut into the lead. You got to stop it right away, whether it's going to the free throw line, whether, again, it's changing up your defense, doing something different. You can't let it happen. In energy tonight, so important for this Kings team as they get ready to take on the Trailblazers, who are on the second night of a back-to-back tonight. Gonna get back to the chat in just 1 minute. You know, one place, unlike your Kings, that's undefeated is Bennett's. You know about Bennett's, right? 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. One of my favorites, the Roseville location, the one on the screen, the West Side Grill in Rockland, their newest, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Do me a favor, get over to bennettsrestaurants.com and check out their full menu. They've got prime cuts of seafood and steak. They have incredible salads, soups, also sandwiches, ribs, fried chicken, anything you can think of. Bennett's does it well. And it's not just the regular menu, their specials off the charts and super affordable. Weekend brunch, one of my favorites. You can get 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne for under $50. Monday nights, tonight, Wine and Dine Monday, under $70. You get 2 entrees and a bottle of wine. Happy hour, 2 to 6 during the week, Monday through Friday. 60 different wines by the glass. And don't forget about prime rib on the weekend. If you go to bennettsrestaurants.com, you can also make your reservations. You can put your to-go orders in and buy gift cards. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the pregame show tonight on If You Don't Like That. Seriously, not blowing smoke. You got to get to Bennett's. Anybody that has been there rants and raves about it. You'll see it in the chat, and I promise you, will not break your bank. It will break your belt because their portion sizes are awesome. So let's get to the chat again. Want to get all of you in on the show because that's what this show is about. Today is when a 10-game win streak begins. Well, the Kings, it's the first night of a back-to-back for them. They'll be in Utah tomorrow, so they've got to get it going somehow, and then they head to the East Coast for, I believe, 4 games. So, yeah, got to get it going on. Dave chiming in. We have the talent. What's going on? Well, Dave, again, the losses are the losses. You either win or you lose. Jay, one of our callers, called up and said, I don't care about anything else but the wins and the losses. Fair enough. But if you look in between, the Kings have been playing pretty darn good basketball. They have. Now, it's not sustainable because of the minutes the starters have been playing. And Coach Brown touched on that earlier tonight in his pregame press conference. But they've got to find some type of balance, and they have to find a way to curtail those runs that we have talked about, because I would say 80% of the season so far, the Kings have been the better team on the floor, and the 20% they haven't has cost them both games. So they got to do a little something different. Offensive rebounds, we mentioned. If the Kings do play a little bit of zone defense, you absolutely have to make sure you are finding a body and boxing out. This Portland team is a good rebounding team. As I look at the stats right now, Portland, as Zach said, 8th in the NBA at rebounding. They are 19th at keeping their opponents off the offensive boards. So there's a chance there for the Kings to get active. Also, if the Kings are running zone offense, they've got to get the ball to the middle. They have got to keep moving. Standing does not equal success for this offense. So all those things and more. I mean, Mike Brown still figuring out his rotation. Take it for what you will. I'm still trying to kind of make sense of that, understand it. And it's funny that the media that was credentialed and able to be there is just asking that question tonight. That would have been my first question on Saturday to Coach Brown, not questions about LeBron James's greatness. It wouldn't have been. And by the way, as we go through your comments and your chats, I need your help on something. All of you. This is dead serious. It's a serious situation. Do you know who this is? I don't know who that is. Now, I recognize the Miami jersey, and I recognize the 3. That's obviously a Dwayne Wade jersey, but who is that? Put your answers in the chat. I can't figure it out. A mix between Shaq and Dwayne Wade? Lawrence Fishburne? Lawrence Taylor? I don't know. Who is that? Help us out here on if you don't like that. Still trying to figure out who the heck they made that statue of. But whoever it was, congratulations. You got a statue outside the Miami arena. Andrew says it's Shaq. Okay, it's Shaq. I didn't realize he wore number 3. Did they forget the 2? Didn't he wear a 32 in Miami? Help us out. Help us out here. The Trailblazers team is not good, need a W for momentum, no doubt, but I disagree about them not being good. The Trailblazers record, now I'm not telling you that the Kings aren't a better team. They are. The Kings should absolutely win this game, but the Trailblazers are not bad. They beat the Pelicans last night. They had a chance to beat them game before that, so they can play. And again, my X factor for this game tonight is Anthony Simons. He is going to set the pace. Whatever the Blazers play at, it's going to be the pace he sets it at. He's quick. He's slippery. He can shoot the 3 really well, and he will pull up off the break and shoot the 3 as well. So the Kings have to be ready for him. And the Blazers, again, I go back to this, because of their size, run a ton of pick and roll. So you have to be really careful about how you help, because on the backside, you've got Jeremy Grant, you've got Ayton, guys that can come in and rock the rim from above. So definitely some things that the Kings could struggle with tonight. As I look at the Blazers statistics, they take a lot of 2-pointers. In fact, they are second in the NBA, or 6th in the NBA in 2-point attempts. That's because of their size. 8th in the NBA at free throws. Kings, by the way, number 1 in the NBA at free throw percentage, number 4, overall in free throws. So make baskets, quick start would be nice. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Kings cannot come out and be lackadaisical. Again, if you have seen this person on the screen, let us know who it is, because apparently Miami has made a statue of them. We're trying to figure it out here on the pregame show, getting you ready for the Kings and the Timberwolves coming up from the G1s, or Timberwolves. I told you I was going to do that. The Blazers, Trailblazers, and Timberwolves. Thanks for being here on the pregame show. Halftime, Jerry Reynolds joins us. Make sure you come back for that, live on X, live on YouTube, and postgame, we open it up to your phone calls. So we will be right here when the buzzer sounds, ready to take your calls, break it down, and hopefully we are talking about a Kings W and the next game heading to Utah with the beam lit. Wouldn't it be nice for the Kings to leave Sacramento tonight with that beam lit? Be really, really nice. Today is when a 10-game win streak begins. All right, there you go. Dave, questions about Mike Brown? Understand. The whole Blazers roster is going to be doing that van life trend soon. Not on purpose, sadly. We better win this one. That seems to be the overwhelming sentiment amongst the fan base. And the Kings have played 2 very good teams out of the gate. Both teams that I believe will be playoff teams. So you got to take that into account as well. They do. It's a great point, Ori. It's a great point by you. You know what? You get a hell yeah for that.
Give me a hell yeah.
Talking about the rotation, Zach says you replaced Davion with Jordan, Sasha with Doug, and now a new person is DeMar. That's it. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Now, Orlando Robinson still not cleared for the Kings, but he was active at shoot around wearing the red jersey, which means he's getting some individual activities or non-contact activities in with the team. So getting you ready again for the Kings and the Timberwolves tonight. Would love to hear from you. Want to get your phone calls as well. In fact, let's go back to the phone lines. Zach, welcome in tonight.
I got to tell you, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Zach.
Okay. Shit. I'm putting groceries away. Anyways, I would say if the Kings lose by like, if they lose or they lose by like 20, they're getting booed off the floor.
I don't disagree with you. I think if at any point the Kings are showing a lack of effort, if Portland is out hustling them, the Kings will get booed tonight.
I would say that's very valid. I mean, it's like, obviously you can't teach effort. That's probably the easiest part of the game or any sport. I mean, you may not, you could get outplayed just because they're just play smarter than you. But like the thing is, I think what us fans just want to see is that we want to see a product that's like tries hard and it actually wants to like play well for their city.
That's historically what Sacramento fan has wanted. That's why Sacramento has supported the Kings through the lean years, because the teams in the 90s, although not always that good, but the guys that surrounded Mitch Richmond, Michael the Animal Smith, dudes like that just hustled, got down, Dwayne Coswell. You know, it was never a lack of effort from them. So that's an imperative part of the Kings here in Sacramento.
And just curious, I was asked this last question, and you could take me off. How do you actually feel about the Kings bench this season compared to like maybe the other benches of like the top 8 teams of like the Western Conference? And then you're going to ask for them, but yeah.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Zach. Put the groceries away. Try not to break the eggs. How do I rate the bench? Not great, to be honest with you. Not great at all so far this season. And Mike Brown has not had a full deck to play with, but not great. The Kings bench lacks firepower. It does. You have Malik Monk and who else? Trey Lyles. Look, I love Trey, but Trey has not been doing a lot more than hanging out behind the 3-point line and tipping a rebound every now and again. Not a lot towards the hoop by Trey, not a lot of cuts, and I get he's working his way back into things, but not impressed. Alex Len works his ass off, but he's not going to go out there and take anybody one-on-one. It's just not going to happen. So that's why, to me, Keon getting passed up for minutes surprises me. In fact, coming into this season, even with a healthy Kevin Huerter, I said Keon should be the starter. It's one of my most listened to podcasts. It's beyond me, but I am not the coach of the Kings. That's why Coach Brown gets paid the big bucks. Looking at the Blazers lineup, and I want to kind of make this clear one more time. You're going to keep hearing they're the biggest team in the NBA. It's true, but Minnesota was also really, really big. And look at what the Kings were able to do to them. They were able to spread them out. They were able to push them off their spots. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're also quick. And the Kings definitely have the quickness advantage at every position. Maybe not the power forward position, but at nearly every position. So the Kings need to rely on that tonight. And as Zach said, they have got to hustle. They have got to hustle. Bane, let's call it now. It's a win for sure. Dude, Bane, don't make me remind you about what one media personality did against the Blazers last year. Don't make me remind you. I'm sure there's people here that remember what that person did, and it went the opposite way. It's going to be the same stuff as always. Monk and Sabonis play hard, and everybody else maybe plays hard. I disagree, Matthew. Keegan Murray plays his ass off. He's your defensive leader. Keon Ellis plays his ass off when he's on the floor. Jordan McLaughlin in the preseason played his ass off, hustling. Alex Len plays his ass off. Hell, Kevin Huerter played his ass off in Los Angeles. He had a ton of deflections defensively, but again, it's Kevin Huerter. He has limitations. He cannot do the same things that Keon Ellis can do defensively. So you can't hold him to the same standard. That's when it becomes coaching. That is when it becomes scheme. And to me, coaching failed this team in Los Angeles on Saturday night. What's up, Lids? How you doing tonight? Jay Grant can hoop. He absolutely can. Yep. But, Keegan, think about where this Kings team would be. Just not even going to talk offensively, defensively without Keegan Murray. Where would they be? Who would be guarding those long fours, those stretch threes? You really don't have anybody else. DeMar, sure. He's crafty. He's a veteran. And by the way, when DeMar goes into ISO tonight, which it's his specialty, anybody complaining about ISO, I think it's ridiculous. The Kings have to keep moving. Movement tonight. Keeping fresh legs in there. Pressure. Those are all things that I expect to see from the Kings. We will see as we are getting closer and closer to tip off. Get your final scores in. Want to hear from you on that. Joseph, thank God for Keegan. Yeah, Keegan is a special talent. He is a really special talent. Looking at what else the Blazers do well. Block shots. Third in the NBA at blocking shots. So you're likely from the broadcast going to be hearing spray, spray, spray. Coach Brown talks about that all the time. He's talked about that as recently as the Timberwolves game. Look, you do have to spray some of those balls out, but also there's got to be a counterbalance. When Sabonis is wide open in the lane and he hesitates to take the shot because he's thinking about spraying or he's not sure, and then things kind of compress and break down, that's a problem. So certain guys, I don't want spraying. Sabonis, take it to the rim. If it's Herter, spray. If it's Lyles, spray. If it's Alex Lynn, depends on the situation, spray. De'Aaron Fox, take it to the rim. So, again, with that size, with their block shots, third in the NBA, spraying the ball from the key will likely be talked about a ton on the broadcast tonight. Getting some scores in right now. Lydia says the Kings need to take advantage and win tonight. Thibault out, Sharp out. Yep, we put the injuries up for you. We'll put those up one more time if you want to check those out. This has the line at 13.5. It is moved to 12.5. So Johnny Finch saying the Kings 118-111, Dodgers 3-0. There you go. Frog 128-117. Lids 112-104. Love it. There you go. Hey, don't forget, do us a favor. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a retweet if you're watching on the X. It really helps for our exposure and the algorithm. In fact, because of all of you, anytime there's a Kings versus whoever, like tonight, Kings versus Trailblazers thread, our shows, our programming, our content show up in that thread. So thank you for making it that way and promoting the show. And tell a friend if they are also Kings fans. To us, we think this is some of the best Kings coverage in Sacramento, especially because it is so interactive, taking your calls most shows. And then make sure you subscribe too, because we are not just game day coverage. We also have much, much more. For instance, my show, The King's Court, is live most days, 2:00 right here on the channel. Also, Grant has Sean Salisbury on Wednesdays. They talk NFL football and a lot of other shows with special guests. You guys know there is a ton of content on the channel, and we're looking forward to being with you every single game this season. And then also, if you haven't already, check out my podcast, The King's Court. That's on Apple, Spotify, wherever you can find your podcasts. It is a free Kings Insider podcast. I'd let you know what I'm hearing from the building, hearing from my sources. Also, cover the Stockton Kings a lot. That's a big part of what I do. And got my live show. So I think you'll like it. Give it a try. It's a little bit different. It's not all Kings all the time, but we have a good time with it. Good community that's building around it. So thank you guys all for that very much. Let's see. Matthew, 135. He's going 135. All right, 135. I like it. The Kings tonight, again, offensive rebounding, got to be better. 30th in the NBA. No excuse with the quickness that the Kings have versus the size against Portland. The Kings cannot get on the offensive boards. And remember, Chauncey Billups he will let the Blazers pull from 3. He is not shy about that. So the Kings definitely need to get a body on everybody. And also, lastly, again, don't forget, we're right back here at halftime with the one and only Jerry Reynolds. Grant will be here as well. And then we'll wrap the night up tonight for you with the post-game show. Going to send you out to the game. They're going to be tipping off here in about 5 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me on the pregame. Can't wait to see you at the half. I'll give my prediction at halftime, but my guess is it's not going to be an exciting first half. I think it's going to be a little bit of a grind, but I do think the Kings ultimately get the victory tonight. But again, my player that I am worried about, Anthony Simons. Stay tuned for more on the Keon Ellis news from Mike Brown earlier tonight in his pregame press conference and much more. Hey, make it a great one. Can't wait to see you at halftime right here on If You Don't Like That. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine. We'll see you at the half.